Hey everybody, happy, what's today? Wednesday. Today's Wednesday. I wanted to come on because I have a new episode of A Precious Paradox. This particular one came within the last 5 minutes. I was checking my page and I had posted a lovely meme image that said, when you're happy with who you are, it won't matter who isn't. And one of the patrons that follows my page replied with a GIF that says, I'm trying. And initially, I had started to compose this massive reply with like a little care emoji reaction to it. But I decided, you know what? This is a really good topic for A Precious Paradox. Because I think it's really something that we don't talk about very often, is the struggle that we have loving ourselves. And it's not even that we don't talk about it, because everybody is painfully aware of it. It is something that many can look and is like, you know what? In some way, they don't love themselves. And that's true for anybody. But let's look at that, you're told, oh, you should just love yourself. That's all that matters, is loving yourself. And yes, that is very true. However, when we can't get our emotions to match our knowing, like we talked about in, the other Precious Paradox, you find yourself in a constant rock and a hard place situation. Loving yourself is difficult, especially when you have lived a life that you constantly find reasons to not love yourself. We all do that. And if you're needing to hear it, it's okay that you don't love everything about yourself. Because what comes from that is the desire to change. If there's something you don't like about yourself, you have a choice to choose to act on the desire to be different, to be better, the best version of yourself, whatever that looks like for you. And we can get caught up in the idea that, well, I'm trying to better myself for somebody else. I'm not really doing it for me. Or we tell ourselves that, well, I'm just doing it for me, but then we constantly seek kind of outside validation that, well, are you really doing it for you? Because if you were, you may not be quite as concerned about what everybody else has to say about it. These are all limiting beliefs. These are us not being confident in who we are, what we want, and we're uncertain as to, do we even want this? We're uncertain as to, is this the right path? Should I be going about this differently? So firstly, let's bring all that down and let's do clearing. Everything this is bringing up for you and everything this is letting down, all of the heaviness and lightness that's fluxing in and out, let's gather all of it and hold it in our hands, and let us speak directly to all of this dis-ease and stagnation that we're carrying in our bodies and say, thank you for your contribution. I release you with love and consciousness attached. Please return to the earth. Anything that does not allow me to release this, right, wrong, good, bad, pop, pock, all nine shorts, boys, po beds, and beyonds. Deep breath. Thing is, one of the biggest hurdles that we can have when we are relearning to love ourselves is the idea that we're lying, that we're kidding ourselves. We're trying to have overly wishful thinking, because there's a part of us that doesn't actually believe that I am worthy of having a healthy relationship, that I am a powerful and potent person that thrives in life. Because when we get so stuck in our limiting beliefs, or we have developed a perspective that puts us at the bottom of the dirt pole, it's going to be hard at first trying to unlearn those things and undo the damage that those limiting beliefs have created for us. So in the beginning, when we're telling ourselves, I am worthy of love, I love and appreciate myself, it may feel like a lie in the beginning. The important thing is to continue to tell yourself that, is continue to say these affirmations that are building you up, because eventually your brain is going to start shifting the narrative. There's going to be this major shift within you, within your perspective. Those perceivable lies that you start, the lies, we're going to make sure we do that, lies, because they're truths, they only feel that way because you're hesitant to believe it. Because maybe you've had situations in your life where you drew the conclusion that, well, that can't be true, because otherwise that wouldn't have happened, this wouldn't have happened. No. You loving yourself and you insisting, demanding that you be treated that way by everybody else around you, that is your birthright. You are not here to be treated anything less than royalty. You deserve to be respected. You deserve to be appreciated. You deserve to be looked at as a glorious human being that is doing their best, and you should love yourself for the sole fact that you're continuing to do this. You are valid in every single way. You are valid. So, in all the ways that we have accepted and aligned with and believed that we are anything less than the divine and sacred worthiness that we are, let's uncreate and destroy that. Right, wrong, good, bad, POD POC, all nine shorts, boys, poebads, and beyonds. Deep breath. In all the ways that we have assumed and deduced and concluded that how others treat us has anything to do with us, let's uncreate and destroy that. Right, wrong, good, bad, POD POC, all nine shorts, boys, poebads, and beyonds. Other people's reaction and response to you has nothing to do with you. It's about them. And because the number of times that we project outward onto other people, that if we don't like the way, a certain way a person does something or something that they choose, we're projecting our perspective onto them. So looking at it from the reverse side of that you're on the receiving end of that, what they're doing, they're only projecting their triggers. They're projecting their limiting beliefs on you because you triggered them in some way. It doesn't have anything to do with you. You just kind of get to be the messenger. They say, don't shoot the messenger. It's pretty much what it is. We are everybody else's messenger that we're hoping they don't take shit out on. But so back to everything else is it is extremely important that we start an open dialogue with ourselves and chanting and telling ourselves every day these positive affirmations, because the only way that we are going to shift that is for us to be able to tell ourselves it and tell ourselves it enough to the point that it is second nature, that, oh yeah, that's, I tell myself this every day. And at first it felt weird because it felt like a lie. But then over time, I insisted that this is how I want to feel. I desire to feel this good about myself. And I can make that happen. I just have to get past this speed bump of limiting belief that I've carried about what I'm allowed to be and how I'm allowed to be. You can be a humble person and still appreciate yourself in an open way that may come off as egotistical or self-centered. Doing that just a little bit to pump yourself up is not hurting anybody. If it hurts somebody, if that is upsetting to somebody else because you're like, yep, I'm pretty great, and that's like one of the only things you ever say good about yourself, that because you're learning to think and talk positively about yourself, guess what? That's their projection, because they perhaps are petrified of being egotistical, self-centered, because they see other people like that, so they refuse to be anything of the nature, anything like it. So that little bit of self-confidence that you proudly boast here and there, there's nothing wrong with that. Somebody else may find something wrong with that, but that doesn't have anything to do with you. And believe me, I totally understand how difficult that can be in the doing it, because you can feel weird, like, oh, I feel so cringy, kind of, saying, yep, I'm pretty awesome, or yep, I'm totally cute. Because then you're just like, because in the beginning you do sort of want to gauge how that's being received, and some people may be like, oh yeah, that's so funny. It's like, that's, some people are going to come back with the positive affirmation, like, damn right you are. Others may be like, oh, okay, you're really feeling yourself today. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with that. There is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Especially when it comes down to if you see the extremes, because it's always a scale. There's always the extremes of somebody going way overboard and being too about themselves. And then there's the people who are never, ever, ever going to say anything boasty about themselves. And for some people, they may be comfortable in that. But if that's not something you're comfortable with, you don't have to go balls to the wall and be this kind of person who doesn't talk about anything but yourself. You don't have to be that way. You can choose where you're comfortable. It's like, you know what? I'm still a humble person. I know I'm not, 100% in all these areas, but in the ways that I am 100% and I'm willing to recognize it, I should not be afraid to acknowledge that. We should never be afraid to acknowledge our strengths. We should never be afraid to, build ourselves up and talk about how great we are. So in all the ways that we have learned that being openly proud and enthusiastic and boastful about ourselves and the great beings that we are, let's uncreate and destroy anything that doesn't allow us to do that going forward. Right, wrong, good, bad, pop, poc, online, shorts, boys, poveds, and beyonds. Because I tell you what, when you get to a point where you are more comfortable, really letting yourself be about you, there is so much energy that comes with being able to say, yeah, I'm looking really freaking cute today. Or I have been doing amazing. I have been rocking my day-to-day life. I've been doing all this stuff that I wanted to do. And I'm proud of myself, because the energy that comes from that, it's like, I did that for me. I achieved that, and I am proud of myself. As soon as you find the strength to be there for you and love yourself and appreciate yourself and recognize the extreme worthiness that you are, other people are more forthcoming with expressing that about you also. So how much of the desire and validation that we seek in others, we're only continuing to seek it because if we're talking about ourselves in a negative way, most people at some point, they're gonna stop trying to give you positive compliments. They're not gonna want to play in and enable you to continue to talk about yourself that way. We should never have, well, I shouldn't say never. It's not supportive to us to have self-deprecating thoughts, emotions, or speak about ourselves in any way that is not how we really want to see ourselves, that we don't want others to see us. We do this and we talk down about ourselves as a way to get ahead of other people that we think are making those judgments against us. Because if we do it first, then they can't do it to us because we've already talked down about ourselves. So there's nothing left for them to talk about. This is the lie of judgments because we're constantly assuming that other people have these awful, terrible thoughts about us. And they're not. They're not. 99% of the time, these people are not seeing you like that. You only think they are because you're terrified that you're going to be singled out. Because that's a scary thing, to feel singled out. But how about as adults who are developing our self-awareness, and even children who are developing self-awareness, these humans that are working through our self-awareness, how about we stop being the ones to single ourselves out? What if we were to be our biggest supporters and everybody else gets to be bonus support? Everybody else gets to be the bonus cheerleaders on the sidelines that you can tap in at any point, but the point is they are support. They are not carrying how you feel about yourself in order for you to have any sense of worth. So I want to challenge you to perhaps every day, at least once a day, I want you to look yourself in the mirror. And I would say do a full body mirror. If you have a full body mirror or you get a mirror that's big enough that you can see most of your body, I want you to look at yourself in its entirety. And I want you to look at that person and I want you to say, man, you are amazing. And I want you to also recognize all of the ways that you immediately start criticizing yourself. And instead, if you look and you say, gosh, my face is so pudgy, or, I hate how my clothes fit on me, my belly is too big, or, my butt's too small, or, why do I have freckles? I hate having my freckles. I want you to be aware of all those things that you start picking yourself apart for. And I want you to say something positive to yourself about that feature. You know what? Your face is absolutely adorable and you have the best smile. And do that with every different area that you find yourself starting to criticize yourself. And then look yourself in the eye. Look yourself in the eye in the mirror, and I want you to say every positive, wonderful thing that you could possibly think of to say to yourself. And if you have to, Pretend you're talking to a completely different person. Pretend you are talking to a person that you love and admire, and for them to be thinking poorly about themselves, it would hurt your heart. And I want you to pretend you're talking to them, but I want you to use your names. Like, Amanda, you are a kind and caring person, and you have grown so much over the years that you should be beyond proud of yourself. I want you to do this every day. And if you feel like you're lying to yourself, then I want you to continue to do it for another day. I want you to do this every day until you believe the words that are coming out of your mouth. Because once you believe those words that are coming out of your mouth and you feel so powerful and so strong saying those words that, no, I am awesome, then I want you to look at the entirety of your journey from starting your affirmations to the point in which you truly wholeheartedly believe it deep within you that those words that you're telling yourself are true. What's changed? How do you feel differently about yourself? How do you feel differently about life? How has your life changed in the course of that time because of how you have been working on yourself to feel empowered just by being? I hope this has been fun. I hope this has been enlightening. If you cried a little bit, then awesome. We're on the right path. All right. I love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you have any questions, feel free to comment. And you can always reach out to me in any of the wonderful ways you can reach out to me. Hope you all have a great evening.